Okay, so today we shall discuss the second poem from your textbook, that is Sonnet number 130, titled My Mistress Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun, written by William Shakespeare. So, this is a very simple sonnet which is written by William Shakespeare, and Shakespeare needs no introduction to a student of English literature, right? So William Shakespeare is known as England's national poet. He is also known by the name Bard of Avon because he was born in a place called Stratford upon Avon. Avon. Avon is the name of a river near the place Stratford. So he was born in Stratford upon Avon. Okay, so because he was born in that place, he is also known by the name Bard of Avon. Avon is the name of a river near Stratford, which is his birthplace. So Shakespeare is also known by the name Bard of Avon. He was born in 1564 on 24th April, and it is believed that he died on the same day in 1616. He was born in 1564 and died in 1616. One of the stalwarts, the immortals in English literature, known as a poet as well as, or better known as a dramatist, a playwright, who has written 37 plays in total, right? And 37 plays is a huge number for a dramatist to have written and staged in his whole lifetime. Okay, so Shakespeare has had a very eventful dramatic career, and all of his plays are still being read even after 4 centuries later. Now, even now, you have to learn Shakespeare. His plays are read, his poetry are read, they are enjoyed, and they even find a lot of applications in both entertainment as well as academic levels. So we can say that Shakespeare is timeless. He is universal and timeless. You can see that his plays make sense. For example, Shakespeare's Othello, that was written and staged for the 16th century English audience, British audience. It makes sense in the 20th century Keralam, in the background of Theyyam, in the particular movie called Kaliyatam by Jayaraj. Or Shakespeare's Hamlet, that was staged for the 16th century English audience, that talks about the uh, Prince Hamlet of Denmark. So, Hamlet, the tragedy that was staged in 1603, that finds application in the 21st century as Hyder in India in the context of Jammu and Kashmir border issues, right? So, in that sense, you can say that Shakespeare is timeless and universal because his themes are adapted and readapted and recreated in different contexts. They are uprooted and transplanted in different contexts. Okay, regardless of whether 4 centuries have passed, regardless of how many miles different we live in from England, right? So this is a relevance, or this is a significance that we can attribute to William Shakespeare. Okay, so altogether he's written 37 plays, and his poetry are anthologized as Rape of Lucrece and all that. And if you look at the sonnets, he has written 154 sonnets. Okay, so that's a huge number again, right? So you look at the profile of Shakespeare as a writer. He's written 154 sonnets. He has written 37 plays. So you can imagine that he has had a very eventful career. Anyway, out of the 154 sonnets, you can divide them into different categories. Many of them are dedicated to a friend, Some of his sonnets are dedicated to a friend, and they are called as WH sonnets. And the identity of the particular person, WH, it's the initial, we don't know who that person is. And there are so many allusions and there are so many speculations regarding to who this WH is. But then we don't know. There are so many names associated with this WH. Anyway, these sonnets are called WH sonnets. In other sonnets, the writer hails his lady love, and in many of them she is presented as a dark lady. Okay, there is a slight allusion to the dark lady in our sonnet today that we are going to learn, sonnet number 130 also. So such sonnets are called dark lady sonnets. Okay, the dark lady sonnets are particularly related to the love, the lady love of the writer, that is a dark lady. And so these sonnets are called as dark lady sonnets. And a few sonnets towards the end are related to life and philosophies of life and all that. Okay, so the sonnet number 130 out of the 154, we have to learn today the 130th sonnet, and the title of the sonnet is My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. So that is the first line of the poem itself. The first line of the poem is the title of the poem, the sonnet. My Mistress' Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. Now, I have already taught you the rhyme scheme that comes for every sonnet, Petrarchan, Shakespearean, and Spenserian. You can refer to the notes for the rhyme scheme, but anyway, I'll repeat it here. The rhyme scheme for the Shakespearean sonnet is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, G, G. Okay, so the first four lines, the first quatrain has the rhyme scheme AB, AB. The second four lines, the second quatrain has the rhyme scheme CD, CD. The third quatrain has EF, EF, and finally there is a couplet. That's a closing couplet or an ending couplet which rhymes together as G, G. So this is how we see the rhyme scheme of a Shakespearean sonnet. And now if you look at the poem itself, you can see, look at the first four lines: sun, red, dun, head. So sun and dun together rhyme. Okay, sun, if you give the letter A to sun, and if you give the letter A to dun, you can get the first and the third lines AA. Look at the second line, red. Look at the fourth line, head. You can give the letter B for the rhyme. So you get sun, red, dun, head, A, B, A, B. Similarly, you look at the second quatrain, white, delight. So you give a new letter C there because you don't have that rhyming before. So you give a new letter C there, white and delight. Cheeks, reeks. So that's again a new word or a new rhyme pattern, so that you give the letter D. So if you go like that down, no, go, sound, ground. So you have EF, EF. And last two lines, rare, compare, G, G. So this is how the poem is going to rhyme as a typical Shakespearean sonnet, that is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Okay, so this is going to be the rhyme scheme. Now let's look into the poem as such. So this is a poem that is written by a lover regarding his lady love. Okay, so here is a description of the mistress, the lady love of the poet. Okay, a description is made of the mistress of the poet, the lady love of the poet, and the whole of the poem is about the lady love, how she looks, how she is felt by the viewer. What the particular emphasis is given to the appearance of the mistress. Okay, so and the poem also shows how special this lady love is to the poet. Okay, so that is about the that is an introduction to the poem, and also there are a few specialities to the poem that we'll see in the end of the poem. Okay, what is the speciality of this particular sonnet? That we'll see in the end. Okay, so We'll begin with the first quatrain, the sonnet number 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. First quatrain. So the poet says, my mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why, then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. Okay, so dear people, this is how my mistress looks. Okay, the poet introduces the appearance of his lady love to the readers. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Okay, so there is a negative there, right? How does my mistress look like? Take for example her eyes. Her eyes are not bright like the sun. Look at the second line. Coral is far more red than her lips red. Okay, coral, you know. hmm? So the coral or the precious uh, uh, thing that you get from the sea, coral reef. Coral is more beautiful than the red color of her lips. Okay, then if you look at my lady love, her breasts are dark or her complexion is dark. If you look at the white snow, she and her complexion is nowhere near the white snow. Her breasts are dark. Dun means dark, brown. Wires, black wires grow on her head. She is not blonde. Okay, to a typical English ideal beauty, she has to be fair, her hair has to be blonde, and she has to be attractive, slim. Her lips should be, you know, having a red, bright red color. These attributes are not there for my mistress. My mistress, her eyes are not shining like the sun. They are very normal. If you look at the red color of her lips, they are not that red. You can see that the coral is even red than my mistress's lips. Now, if you look at her complexion, her skin is not that fair. She is a dark lady. Her breasts are dark because if you compare it with the snow, she is too dark. And her hair is not blonde. She has black hair. Okay, so typically she is not an ideal woman. You can see that with a lot of negatives. The four lines show a lot of negatives. The negatives show that she is not a typical lady love. She is not an ideal lady. Okay, my mistress is just not the ideal, the best of women around me. There are a lot of women who are blonde, fairer than her. This is how she looks. Okay, my mistress's eyes are not like the sun. Coral is far more bright red than her lips, and then her breasts, her skin, her complexion is dark. And if you call hairs to be wires, she has curly hair and they are black, they're not blonde. Okay, now, second quatrain. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. So in the second quatrain also you can see more details of the lady is given there. The poet says that he has often seen in his garden different types of roses. You might have seen in your own garden, there might be red, bright red roses. Some roses may be fading pink, some may be white, some may be yellow. There are different species of roses out there, right? There are different varieties of roses out there. I have seen roses mixed with red and white colors. Damasked means mixed or mingled. So I have seen different kinds of roses. Some roses are mixed with red and white colors, but I have never seen such a rose in her cheeks. Okay, so this is another idea that we have about a woman. who is fair. If a woman should be beautiful, she should have a fair complexion, and her cheeks should have that rose tinge, right? Which is why we apply, when we apply makeup, women usually apply rouge, that rose tint, that rose powder, that tint of rose color on their cheeks to give a sort of an appeal, right? I have never seen that color on her cheeks. Again, a negative description. She has never got a rose tint on her cheeks because she's a dark woman. And if you look at the fragrance, in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. The breath of my mistress is not that fragrant. You can get better fragrances in perfumes. She does not have the best smell. You look at the advertisements of the toothpaste, close up and all that, that pass and all that, right? So you have that image. If you have to be attractive, you have to look fair, you have to look lovely, and also you should have a fresh odor. Your mouth should exude a fresh odor. So you usually munch on a mint or something, right, to have a fresh odor. And the body should exude a fragrance. So you have the Engage Dio perfume advertisements, right? That show that you are attractive. If you have a fragrant smell exuding from your body, when somebody passes near you, they should be mesmerized with your fragrance. So this is the image that even the cosmetics and the advertisements give us, right? You have to be fair, you have to be slim, you have to have straight hair that is blonde, you have to be this and that. Look, people, my mistress is not like that. So, in the two quatrains, you can see that unlike other poets who glorify their lady love, here you can see a very negative description about his lady love. Oh, what a lover this person is. How can he be so cruel to introduce his lady love as not the ideal person? So he must be a very cruel person, right? Anyway, there is one more quatrain with a detailed description about the lady love. We'll see that. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. Okay, now the reference is to her sound. Okay, you imagine the movie Kattapanela Hrithik Roshan or something, where the heroine appears and angels tread near her, and violins are heard, right? That romantic picture you have in your mind, right? So Shakespeare says, or the poet says that no, 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 there is no such a romantic description that I have to give about my lady love. You listen to her, her voice is not so pleasing. The sound that she has is not so pleasing. You may well listen to a song, you may well listen to music to have a pleasant experience rather than hear her speak. If you hear her speak, you will understand that she does not have a pleasant sound. Look at the quatrain. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. Okay, it is true that I would love to hear her speak. I would love to hear the voice of my lady love, but I should tell you that she does not have the best sound. Music is more pleasing to listen to. Then, the way she walks, she does not walk like an angel. Okay, in all the movies, we have film songs that glorify the heroine like an angel, flying, right? In Bahubali and all that, you have that romantic description about that idealized description of the lady looking like an angel from the horizons, from the celestial skies. No, 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 no. My mistress, she's not like a goddess. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. She's not a goddess to me. She's a very ordinary woman. She actually walks on the ground. She does not walk on air. She does not fly. She is not an angel. When she walks on the ground. Okay, so if you look at the 12 lines, the poem is also almost ending. The sonnet is almost ending. We have seen 12 lines. The first quatrain, we saw that her eyes are not like the sun, her lips are not red like coral, her breasts, her skin complexion is dark compared to snow, her hair is not blonde, she has black curly hair. And in the second quatrain, we have seen that her cheeks are not rose. She's a dark lady. So her cheeks do not have that red white complexion um, compared to roses. And if you look at the appearance and her odor, her fragrance, its perfumes are better than that. Hmm. And then if you look at the sound, I would certainly love to hear her speak, but she does not have the best sound. Music is pleasant to hear than her sound. And if you look at the style of her walking, she walks like a any ordinary woman. She's not like a goddess to me. She walks on the ground. So look at this, a whole 12 full lines completely describing the negatives of the woman. What sort of a lover is this person? Just imagine the girls in this class. You imagine your lover is introducing you uh, to the lover's friends with a lot of negatives. You don't introduce your lover to your friends or somebody in that way. See, I have a girlfriend. She's so beautiful. She's amazing. This is how we introduce our lady to our friends and acquaintances. But here, to the readers, the poet details very, very cruelly the negatives of the lady. So we come to the closing couplet. There are only two more lines left. Let's see what the poet has to say about the lady in the closing couplet. And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare as any she belied with false compare. Okay, two lines. The two lines he begins in the last second last line. And yet, okay, what do you mean by yet? പക്ഷേ എന്നിരുന്നാലും, however. So in the 14 lines, out of the 14 lines, in the 12 lines, he was referring to all the negatives, all that the poet's lady love is not. But in the 13th line, he says, it is not a problem to me at all. But huh, apart from all these negatives, apart from whatever my lady is not, by heaven, I swear by heaven, I think my love as rare. I think my lady love is the rarest of all. Yes, she is not that beautiful like the ideal woman of your dreams or the ideal woman that is portrayed to you in your stories and your advertisements. No, my lady love is not that, but I think my love as rare. As any, she belied with false compare. I do not want to give false comparisons to her because all the women for all lovers and all poets are idealized. They're all given a fantastic picture. And that in restricting myself, not giving that false comparison, I want to tell you that she is the rarest of all. She may not be the ideal woman in your dreams. She may not be the ideal woman glorified in poetry before or in art, painting, sculpture before. But I want to proclaim by heaven, in front of gods, I want to witness that this lady is the rarest of all, and my love, my lady, does not need any false comparisons because she is the rarest. She exceeds comparisons. There is no need for any false comparisons to compare her because she is unique and rare. So in the last couplet we understand that all the above description, all the 12 lines that showed her negatives were to point out that she is no, she's a very unique person. She is not like anybody else. She does not require any false comparisons, any glorifications like the roses or the corals or the diamonds and the rubies. She does not need any such false comparisons because she is the rarest of all. And the poet wants to tell everybody that he is the luckiest because he has got the rarest girl as his lady love. Okay, so this is the sonnet number 130. My mistress eyes are nothing like the sun. So this poem actually, you can see that it is actually not a glorification of the lady, right? It is not a glorification of the lady love. Unlike other poems, usually you have love lyrics. Elizabethan age is actually full of love lyrics. It was an age where a lot of poems were composed as love lyrics. So it was a convention. It was almost a convention, a tradition in the Elizabethan age to write poems that glorify the lady love. But this is a poem that actually mocks that convention. It is a poem that actually rejects the conventions of the Elizabethan genre of love lyric, because the poet actually gives a realistic, very down to earth description of the beloved. He does not glorify her as an angel or as a superhuman or as a supernatural being. Instead, he portrays her weaknesses, and in showing that, the poet actually shows a realistic description. So, in this way, Shakespeare has already experimented and rejected the conventions of his age. Hmm. He does not want to give any artificial uh, comparisons. He exposes the artificiality of the particular age, where people used a lot of false comparisons to show and glorify the beauty of women, and that is not needed. Shakespeare shows that such a description is not actually needed. So you can read this poem as an unconditional love, a poem that glorifies unconditional love, irrespective of your looks, irrespective of your appearance. Love should be unconditional, and that experience is what you can see in this poem. Okay. So you can respond in the chat box if you have any doubts. You can respond any doubts that you have. I'll come to that later. We'll look at the certain images that we have. In the first line itself, you have the visual image. You have a lot of visual images here, right? My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. You have a visual image. Then you have the image of the coral, and her lips, the comparison of the color of her lips as a visual image. Then the skin, her complexion, the dark dress of the lady compared to the whiteness of the snow. Then the hair on her head, the curly black hair on her head, that is also a visual image. Then her cheeks, the complexion of her cheeks compared to the roses is again a visual image. Now you have an olfactory image here, perfumes and her breath. The pleasantness of smell from a perfume is better than the breath from my mistress. So you have an olfactory image here, a sense of smell there. Then you have the sense of sound here, music, auditory image, the reference to her sound and music. Then again, you have a visual image of a goddess, an angelic image compared to an angel or a goddess. My mistress is not that. She is a mortal human who walks on the ground. So in this way, you can see there are a lot of images ranging from visual to auditory to olfactory to that many images are given in the poem. And you can see that all the three quatrains, the first 12 lines, the three quatrains are descriptions of the lady love in a negative way, but it consummates in this last concluding couplet to conclude that she is not an ordinary woman. She is a unique and a rare woman, and nobody is lucky like me to have such a lady in life. So, this is the stylistic analysis of the poem. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please respond in the chat box.